Hello, this is the Playground Experience. And you have here with us my lovely co host, April Williams, and I am Divine Sunshine. All
Aloha.
right, and so, of course, we're going to talk about these energies, Ken Boutte. In some kind of way, again, we know with this, we got this what Chiron energies that's going on. I didn't know it hit on the 15th. Some of us was a little bit beforehand. Really helping us to understand what it means that wounded healer. Things are being brought up. You can't play games with it anymore. You can't play hide and go seek with it. It's going to find you. It's like tag, you're it. So these things are hitting us in different ways. Some of it is kind of really testing. I say by our spiritual gangster. I say I was gonna make shirts with that. Don't test my spiritual gangster. On that one, I am gonna make some. For real. And so here's my thing is that that's been tested. You had some highs and lows. This is for me. It's been a nice roller coaster ride of highs and lows. A lot of seeking and finding and getting information as well about myself, about what things I should be working on the next year. And that's why I felt like a lot of people were kind of, it just so happened, all of the things that I was asking for as far as like readings and just getting consultation from other people. Yes. Yeah, although you're a reader, you can't read sometimes for yourself. You got to get somebody else with an outside introspection because it's just like me trying to operate on myself. That's not going to work. So I heard somebody talk about, oh, you do on that? Yes, because that's you have to go seek outside counsel. So I got K Moon astrology. I went to her. We talked. I went to another young lady, Shine the Light Within. I posted that on the community tab on Divine Unisoul's 11. And then I also had gotten talked to some other people. And I mean, just all of this stuff is just coming up with all this stuff that we have to work on. We still have to work on in order to get union. It's just like, my God, is it ever going to stop? Are we going to ever stop healing or ever stop learning? Well, you know what? I have to use my own words. Of course not, because why? Why here like the Clark sisters? Of course not. It's not all in vain. So again, we're not what's up the road is eternal gain. Well, yes, that is true. So we have to understand that where we are, this is Earth. I always say that this is teachable planet. I have to slap myself in my own face with my own stuff, as well with my own teachings, so I can even understand that. So in order for us to be able to truly evolve, we've got to have those lessons. And so this is where it is. It's just like this is we're school. School is in session. That's a nice way to say it. It's called the school is in session. This is where we are. Really taking and applying what we have learned prior to and seeing what things we have not covered or not gotten the lesson. Then like we're going back again and re-reviewing that again. Again, that goes with the retrogrades. But then again, it's some other things that they want to upgrade us to go to the next level so we can be ready for the next class, or like from high school to college or from college to graduate school. So whichever kind of way that you are on the scale of learning, this is what they're saying. They're getting you ready and prepared to go to the next level. So we're on a new level. We got our shovel. And so we've got to find some kind of way, in some ways, where we're digging ourselves out of. Some of us, this hole that we brought our own selves in, because a lot of people that I have talked to, even counsel, they'll come to me. I say, Lord, why you come to me? Heck, I need to be coming to you. But anyway, these things, it's a lot of mental things that's going on with it. A lot of this bringing up the self doubt. And I know Benita had brought that up too as well. Hey, Mimi, that that's what Aries is about the self worth, about the self image. So we're getting a lot of question marks in that area that's being brought up, whether it's our self image as far as how we see ourselves into the world, how other people are seeing us, how our relationships and connections to others are. And I know I pulled and I did for the reading as well for that, and talking about us standing in our power. That's what's going on with us. And so, it really, what's our identity? How do we stand? How are we in our authority? So, this is really what's been tested. Some things from the past I've seen, if I'm summarizing some of the stuff I've seen from other people, has been coming up to really say, okay, to help you deal with your self image, to help you deal with your self worth, to kind of close out some of those chapters. As well, when we talk about this Chiron and Aries, all of it about Aries is about action, Aries is about direction, but Aries is impatient too. So we gotta watch and make sure that we check across and yeah, I am an Aries, so I know. So I'll talk about myself, throw myself out there on the tracks. So we have to make sure that we're so much in a rush to get to the finish line, the destination, that we don't really make sure that we are really going through the process and understanding step by step while we're learning the lesson. Have we gotten the lesson so we don't deem to repeat over again? And so a lot of times we have that laser beam just like a ram, because Aries are ram, where we ram our way on through it. And this is again, is causing for some of us to go into the opposite direction. It's like, yes, it's action to get that healing, to be able to heal those wounds, but also to be able to make sure that you're taking your time and healing. Because just like you got a scab or something, I know I'm channeling, I'm tapping into April's energies, that scab, and you picking it and you try to pull it off instead of you letting it heal on its own and let that scab stay right there. You know, some of us want to go picking at it, like, oh, okay, now how's this going to look in the couple? Now let me start picking on this scab because I don't want it to stay there because it's going to make a mark.
That's a gross metaphor. I'm sorry. That's a gross metaphor. And I have a little boy now, and I'm realizing what little boys are made of, and the snips and snails and puppy dog tails is a real thing. So,
Yeah. I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna go. Oh Lord, it's not ready. And then when you do pull it off, it's got that whitish. It's not blending with my regular skin. Well, you should have maybe let the scab fall off on its own. And most of the time, when you let it do that, that one goes back and blends in with your regular skin instead of you rushing and pushing it to make it do that. So,
well,
yeah,
if we're going to use the metaphor of the scab,
yeah,
when you have a big scab, right? It's itchy and it's uncomfortable to
yeah,
even have it on you to do the healing, to let your body do the healing, and you want to speed it up. And then maybe you get it wet, let's say, and then it's soft. So you think, well, it's soft, I could just remove it, but it hasn't actually fully healed, right? And then it leaves a visible scar.
right,
So you want to actually heal the wound, you have to pay attention to it. You have to acknowledge it. You actually have to add a little bit of moisture to it. You have to protect it while it's healing, which means you have to be slow. We can't be like bulls in a china shop, like we would love to be in as our Aries self. Aries, Aries, a ram in a china shop. That's better. A ram in a china shop. Uh,
right.
I'm finding the energies are also pulling out teachers. So if you're feeling, because you don't have to be a master to be able to start to help guide those that are around you that are being called to you, right? Because I feel like we are, a lot of us, getting into new friendships, we're getting into new vibrations and new connections, and we're releasing um, all all the things real slow, it's a very interesting energy because it's forcing us to slow down and be gentle,
Yeah,
even though the ram doesn't want to necessarily be gentle. It's learning to finesse its way through so it
yeah.
can get everything that it needs, right? And this means that we're now going into the masculine and the feminine aspects of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and recalibrating our association with our, even our own memories, right? And it's really rough right now because the self-esteem stuff and the self-worth stuff really is popping up for a lot of people. And so when you're going into your healing mode, when you're starting to look and reflect on experiences, um, because in those moments you were not as empowered as you are in retrospect, you want to adapt almost that mode that you were in, but energy will not let you. It's letting you see it from that higher perspective. It's actually forcing you to see it from a higher perspective. A lot of people, they're realizing they're more sensitive than they thought. Their ego is tender on so many different levels that
Yes.
it's becoming um quite raw for them to even be in their own skin. So you see people having this nervous energy or this uncomfortableness. They don't want to sit still. The only way you can actually catch the fish in the muddy water is to sit still, right? Because you have to wait for an indication that that fish is there. Or even, even fishing, right? You have to sit there, you have to be quiet, you have to wait, and the fish comes to you. And so we're learning that process of, I guess, flirting with our destiny, flirting with the universe to allow it to actually come to you versus you chasing after everything, And part of this rebalancing is shaking off the niceties, I guess, for lack of better words. People have been way too nice or way too considerate to people who don't necessarily deserve that energy from them.
Yes.
And so we're definitely drawing boundaries. We're definitely in a state of re-solidifying. But because things are still uncovering, we're not going to be able to be settled. But we want to, because it's comfortable. We want to reach a homeostasis so we feel like we're growing. But we're growing at such a rapid rate that it's not going to be comfortable for a hot minute, until probably December. After October, things will calm down. But then come December, after the last retrograde, but before Mercury, because Mercury really isn't that heavy of a retrograde. Oh, what tech work's a little interesting, You need to pay attention to fine print when you sign a contract, but you always need to pay attention to fine print when you sign a contract.
That's
right. So it's not the close planets, it's the further away planets that have that subtle draw that we've been building our egos or our identities on for years and years, that is now coming to a head and needing to give itself a chance to be free. What's really uncomfortable about this is it seems like it's a case of the X's. It's a case of all the issues that you thought you were finally done with, you are getting full on, right in your face tested.
Yeah.
You don't even have to leave your room. You don't have to.
In some cases, I won't divulge whom it happened to. They'll come and find you where you work. So I know that. Like, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to fix this. Universe, you done brought them here to fix this issue. Okay. All right. Interesting. So, yeah.
And that's where reinforcing the boundaries come in, right? Because you have to get uncomfortable to know how to say stop. Because naturally, I'm starting to look around and seeing what, masculines are out there and what they're offering in terms of this conversation, right? And it turns out they're completely different. Who knew men was different? Everybody but me? Did I just crawl from under the rock? What happened?
I didn't think it was the same, but okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, besides anatomy, it's a full-on, the world that men live in, the world that patriarchy has built is completely competitive. It's completely a matter of energetic blocking, right? And then you either railroad something in, or you avoid it or ignore it, right? And it's very interesting for them to learn subtlety, for them to learn softness, and for us in turn, divine feminine, because I'm usually floating in the divine feminine realm, is learning to go where nurturing is needed, but not necessarily give it away. And I saw some hesitancy with that. So I'm going to repeat it again, because I saw some freezing up of the screen and the energies are crazy right now. And I want to make sure I'm heard. But the divine feminine must actually reserve her energy, because she's the nurturer of all, right? Masculine, they have a task, they get it done, and they provide, right? The feminine is constantly nurturing, even while she's sleeping, even while, you know what I mean? And it's a constant matter of building. So building the boundaries, not actually just going in to save people. Wait till they say, I need your saving. I'm not talking about children here. or plants where you're like, oh, that tree is dying, I should water it, I'll wait till it talks to me. No, 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 not everybody can talk to trees like me, you know what I mean, or you, or whomever's out there listening. We have our different mediums, right?
Right.
But we want to save people, we want to help people, we want to be over nurturing and over nice, because that's the kind of love we want. We want that tenderness, we want that, but we have to give it to ourselves first. And then if it runs over and you don't mind giving it to, let's say, a masculine that's in your life that you know is divine but may not necessarily be sitting in that space, yeah, you can make his plate and set it up at the table and put out the candles and all that stuff, but are they even going to eat the food? Is it even what they want right now? Are they even hungry? So wait till they say they're hungry. You cook for yourself, maybe make a lot, because you know you're going to eat later, or they might want to eat. And then when they're ready to come to the table, they'll come to the table. But we keep making their plates and saying, here, eat this. And then we get upset that they don't want to eat it. We get upset that they weren't hungry or they ate before they got there. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, Dad, I slaved over this. I cooked your dinner naked. No, I'm playing.
And he's just like, I just want to decompress. I want to be able to feel these things, but I feel like I have all these things pressing on me. I have to now give all this extra. And it's like, nobody's asking for that right now. But if
Right.
you want to show up, show up. But what I need, I'm going to tell you what I need. I need a hug right now. I need you to listen to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting balance, but it's coming too. I can feel it coming too, and it kind of hurts, right? Because all those parts of the ego that were associated with the self love, all the conditioning that has to do with abandonment or
Right.
worthiness, all that stuff, it's easily triggered, especially when it's someone that you love and care about. So all this stuff has to come up to the point so that you're not triggered through ego, you're triggered out of like environmental response, right? Like I'm gonna have emotional heartache when something actually terrible happens versus the imagined terrible thing that happened, or me remembering from the past the thing that happened, or but we're out processing it. I'm having a lot of anger come up, which
Yeah.
is great because that means that they are allowing their sorrow to come up. They're allowing their regrets to come up. I can process anger with my kung fu fighting, you know. But it's getting interesting because every time I feel that anger, I have to allow myself to have it, because
Right.
I found feminine doesn't want to be angry, right? They have a misguided notion, depending on the balance, right? There's a misguided notion about the opposite, and so let's say you had a very caring male role model, so you want to believe that all males are caring. Well, you're going to get shown that some people are just straight selfish.
Right. True.
And then you have to learn your discernment and you have to apply it. And then you have to keep applying it because you get tested by the universe. And with the moon going haywire as it is, and we've got all this flooding and stuff going on in the world, um, you know what? We got flooding, we got fires. I'm just, working on myself, right? Because that's all I can do to stay calm right now. Because everything is feeling really mucky, really. We all know what needs to be done, but are we willing to do it? Are the ones that are in power and in control willing to say, yes, we are going to go ahead and fund this, whether we see some fiscal return or not? We're going to
Right.
go ahead and give these people these resources because they actually need it. Or are we just going to keep saying we need it to be the same? Because it's not the same. Like, when's the last time anything's been the same? Even your cornbread recipe probably turned out different.
Yeah. Last time it came out the muffin tin real smooth. Like this time it's sticking all to the sides. Yeah. That happens. And that's what I wanted to, and you brought up a very good point where we are now. I would say if you're doing anything, especially where you're talking about your divine counterpart concern, or it could be anybody, right now, I would say they're saying don't place stake in things or it really pour in all. Yeah, they say don't place stake in anything. I'm seeing a stake in some grass, which lets you know, stakes are usually used in order to hold down things like tents and stuff. That's the stake I'm talking about. So the thing is that, you know, if you're going to do something at this point, during this period of time, and expecting for it to be a return into it, you're not going to get it. Why? Because people are kind of emotionally kind of like, ooh, is it unstable, which is true. So if you're going to do something, and I've been finding this out, is just like really go into with no expectations, because again, you might think they're going to go right, and maybe that sucker will go left, or they'll go straight, or they'll stop and don't move. So my thing is that again, while you're in whatever this is happening right now, unconditional means not even playing conditions on others as to, well, I did this, I reached out, I texted him, he didn't text back, or I did this for this person and they didn't do it back to me. Right now, it's such a, what they say in the word, the phrase is emotional upheaval in some people. They don't know which way is up and down. And they're saying, and I can hear them collectively saying, baby, right now at this time, it ain't about you. Don't take it personal. Don't take it to heart. So again, as far as what's going on, because right now they're trying to find themselves. I done had too many people kind of use that phrase and several times to me about this is not like the time to really be settled, like you said, about where you are or where other people are. So, you know, if you're doing anything, it's like, you know, just do it, but don't really put a hardcore explanation or definition or a term, let's say, or termination to it. So whatever to it as far as what's going on with that person, because at that moment it's kind of like you're saying everything is wonky, you know, it's moving through mud. If it's moving through mud, you don't know where they're gonna end up. They might go through the mud and get tired and say, I can't pump no more in this mud. Or they might say, now I'm gonna fight for my life and get out of this. You don't know what is in a person's mind while we in these kind of like energies right now.
But
All the only thing that you can count on is yourself and as far as where you going and targeting. But if you're trying to place value and stake in somebody else, the thing is I'm seeing a big fat question mark at this time.
well,
Yeah.
so a couple of things that came up was it's the idea of implosion, right? Where everything is kind of expanding and exploding, and we're going into our 5D self. And like Mimi also brought up again, we'll talk about the expansion of, okay, so Gaia was split. Her energy was split into a 5D and a 3D matrix, right? And so right now we're shifting into that 5D matrix. Um, I think it's interesting that they say that you're saying Bronze Age when I was told that this is the newest Golden Age. But
Right.
that just means as an evolution of thought, of consciousness of all the beings, well, that are active, right? Because everything is reacting and reacting. It's not really responding, it's kind of reactive. And because there is no sure-footedness right now, it can feel really unsettling. But if you can get used to the fact that you're in the dream just falling, and you look around and you're like, well, what can I do while I'm falling? Because apparently there's no ground and you know where I came from, but here we go. If you can
Enjoy
get
the view of falling. Enjoy your body.
taco, to take a milkshake down here.
That's all I can say is, wow, I didn't know I weighed this much.
And it's really unsettling for masculinity, I think, because they're so used to having to be stable or to stabilize or be the rock for the feminine energy, that their feminine energy is starting to really allow them to feel, right? So some of them are going stone cold. Some of them are going where they're going into fight or flight, right? And so the best way to do it is to hold your space and allow your container to let yourself feel how you want to feel, express what you want to express, but not necessarily project that.
Right.
And it takes a level of skill and training. And if you're here, we've done tons of meditations, we've done tons of like conversations about how to get your understanding of yourself, but then also allowing yourself to change. Because right now I feel like if you really wanted to get to it, you could get a adverse response, which could trigger you in a different way. So let's say you go after your other, you're going after something you really want. You might not actually be seeing the result, the truest result. You're
Right.
seeing the result of everyone in flux,
Yeah.
right? But as
Right.
soon as they're like, oh yeah, she's anchored, I can anchor there, you're going to get your people. They're going to come to you. Everything's just kind of shifting and filtering out, right? Because every moment, every breath you're taking, you're making a choice in that breath. So people are either choosing to anchor into the 5D or they're choosing to anchor into the 3D. And the 3D is shifting so much that there is no 3D anchor. So they're claiming that they're anchoring in the 3D, but then it crumbles away and then they just need to consume more, right? Because 3D is more about consumption and 5D is more about, I mean, it's more about like just kind of feeling out and learning and accepting and evolving. That's what
Okay.
I'm
I
trying to see the softness of it because it's
right.
a softer space than the 3D, which is like seriously fight or flight, like turning into animals back
Right.
in remembering like you have no soul, sort of.
Right. You're back in
Oh,
survival mode for real.
and then there's a whole like fake 5D situation right now where the whole light worker community is kind of like up in arms with, oh, we're going to avoid shadow work. We won't talk about that. We won't talk about any of the darkness. We're just going to fluff about the light. And it's
Who
like,
the hell don't know? Oh, okay. No wonder. Okay.
there's a huge amount of people out there who are just putting out fluff right now
Oh,
just to make people feel better.
no, I do a balance. I'll go a little fluff, but then I gotta keep. I heard somebody say, "No, you don't." Well, thank you, but I to me think I'm going both ways. Of the fluff and stuff. I try to encourage you because I think sometimes with me, I know my personality. I hit you so much with the truth, and then you're like, "Well, damn, is there any kind of good things to what's going on?" So then I throw you in a little bit, like, "There you go," so to get encouraged. I'm sorry.
We should sit shit sandwich with a rose on top.
Right, right. Some encouragement, but to keep it real, it is what it is. And like you said, oh my God, I didn't know that. See, that's why I ain't too much deep into the thing. I didn't know they was doing the fluff. You can't do that. This world is yin and yang. Your balance on lightness and dark. You can't sell all the fluff all of the time. Like that's not you won't learn.
Well, it's people who are embedded in fear, who are like projecting like everything has to be towards the light energy, where it's like those of us who are in the know like shadow work is necessary. There is a
That's
dynamic with human nature that has us
so
dealing with out processing, right? So maybe in 3 or 4 generations time it could all be light and fluffy bunnies,
right.
but
Yeah.
that gnarliness has to die out. We still got racism for some reason. We still have poverty on this planet. So,
Sexism.
yeah, we're the only species that pays to live on this planet. It
Right.
doesn't make sense.
Hey, right. Yeah, I heard that too. Right. So why are we paying for the water, which should be free because it is free? Everything else is like the land because when we leave, we don't take the land with us. So they say we have the land, but we don't have the land. So why are we paying property tax on it? A whole bunch of stuff. Now, really, if we don't have viewership, if you two really didn't put us down, we really
I know I better put some positive stuff in there
have
about something
to.
so the algorithm likes us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that
When
really.
it's too
What
real
did
for
you
you
say?
two.
Oh no. I learned from K Moon. They say it demotes you. I said, oh, I didn't know that. She said, oh yeah, they demote you if you don't. So definitely on that subject, we didn't got demoted probably by YouTube with that. But I changed the thing. We have love and light that protects us at all times. And truth that the people need to hear, it's gonna cut right on through that demotion and get to the ears and the people that need to hear it. How about that?
Well,
Uh-huh.
it's like if a person has an eating disorder, right? And you're just complimenting them on how nice their body looks, right? You have to acknowledge the eating disorder for them to change their concept of how their body, or how they are actually controlling how their body looks.
Right.
Like, I appreciate how healthy you seem when you're doing, what it is that you're doing. But when I hear you ralphing in the bathroom, I feel bad about, the fact that I said nice dress. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Okay, that's a nice way of putting it. That's nice. That's nice.
So it's about promoting realness, I think, because there's still a level of fakeness to it, and
Yeah.
people are valuing the fakeness as if it were real, but it's very temporary. It's
Mhm.
like falling in love with someone's looks. Well, in 50 years, those looks will not be the same.
It's gonna fade. It's gonna fade.
So you get to love who they are really. And
Right.
if who they are really becomes a neurotic person who's all about their like plastic surgeries and makeups and stuff, that's on them if that's what they need to feel good, but it doesn't really add contentment or more romance or love to the situation.
Right. That is true. That is true. What Mimi said, she said, what again? The water was a source of energy a long time ago. The living water was energized. That's a whole other story. Yeah, but you watch that, what those documentaries, they talk about water. They say the water is dead. It don't have life. They didn't kill it with everything else that they put in it. All the different kind of stuff in it. They really talk about from the tap water rather.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like using a microwave.
Yeah.
It kind of warps and changes every cell of everything that goes inside of it. So, but you can bring your water back to life with intention and energy and love
Right.
and
Mm,
oxygenation, because
right.
going back and forth and back and forth, you're
Right.
incorporating energy and spirit and love into the water, just like you're incorporating energy and spirit and love into yourself. And
True.
when you acknowledge that connection, you're living more in that vibration.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, you expand. Now that means when your vibration changes, everybody around you, their vibration counteracts to that. So often, if it's a big shift, you can see things happening with your children or with your parents or, all that stuff. But if you're doing it together collectively, it's a whole lot smoother.
Yeah, it is.
And then the thing is, part of the ego is associated with your attachments to people. So if the person you thought was supposed to be your lover doesn't behave or act in the way you want them to, then all of a sudden you think, oh, well, I must be doing something wrong. And it's like, no, maybe they're just shifting out of the place that you had them in. You no longer need them to fill that space.
That's an
But
I. Repeat that.
because
Say that one more time. I think somebody in the back needs to hear that. Say that one more time.
so when you're lifting up your vibration, it shifts out the consciousness of others around you that don't necessarily vibe aren't in that vibration anymore. So they've been holding a space because something energetically is going to fill that, but you have to take your time to fill that with your own love, with your own space, with your own connection, and then leave room for what's supposed to actually be there for the flow of your life. And so
Right.
sometimes you'll oscillate in your evolution because you don't want to lose certain people, or you're afraid of becoming or being seen in a certain way. But it's straight to the top with us now. We've already won. It's just a matter of keeping growing in that oneness. We already won, or we already won. I don't remember, but we're one, right?
We're one. Remember what they said, the powerful, the letters in the alphabet is WON, OM, OWN. I read that in the book. One, WON, now, NOW, and I'm missing something. Am I missing one? And it sounds like you saying one, like the one.
But
So
it's one.
fascinating. Right.
Okay. I'm saying own, one, and now. That's pretty much the whole combinations of
Right,
all
right.
of those.
And it's almost like you're saying, oh, one is like the one, and it all comes encompasses is the one. That's what they had in the book. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. One
I
sound
think I think that's why, if you look at all the major religions, right? The older the religion, the more deities,
Oh,
and also related them to nature, right? So you'd have nature spirits. But then when you come into the modern age, they're going for the one, right? The one God. But by going into just the one and trying to usurp power over the people that way, they limited the individual. And that's why there's so much fighting right now, is because we're going to act like everything's based on one gender, one sex, or the same thing, similar. One gender, one sex, one body type, one race, one
right.
ethnicity. Like they're going to base it all on one, but it's like it doesn't actually apply.
Okay.
So we have to look at the we, and then we have to look at the one, and realizing that there's so much in between, that this kaleidoscope of the human is actually this just beautiful collection of ideas, beliefs, and body systems that do bring us together. So we're very similar, but we're very different. And so giving us the, like with COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
That in a unified space. So we're now thinking of each other. But because we're also thinking of each other, we're now also saying, how are we individual? How are
True.
we unique? What are our gifts? And if you haven't been totally absorbed in like social media, or Netflixing and chilling, you had opportunities to go within and actually look at that in this time period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting how we're all forced to kind of look at each other's soul, right, to
Right.
even understand each other. And
Yeah.
so I found that I was like hiding things with my mouth now. Before I would hide things in my eyes, because you
Oh,
see my whole face. Now I'm like holding things in my whole mouth because I had a face shield for a while where you could see my mouth, and it was just
right.
like I was doing all kinds of weird stuff with my face, my lower half of my face, just so people wouldn't know.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know. No, I ain't saying yes to that.
I try not to make the eyes too veil G, but but with this new stage that's coming in, so this will be the predictive for next week. Yeah, a lot of people are going to come into power, especially those of us here in our on this channel, and we're now starting to hear and speak up for the parts of us that weren't heard or weren't seen in those times. Right, we're going to fill in our own gaps, and the sun is giving us so much upgrade, so much power, so much divinity within our own nature, that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to see the conscious split of the 5D people and the 3D people.
Yeah.
And I think it's more like, if you're in the 5D space, the 3D won't make you sick. But if you're in the 3D space, you can oscillate a lot between like depression and anxiety, and then the fear body's going to come up, and all this stuff. But those of us that are anchored in, we just kind of need to remember to link arms, right? So when you're feeling that pressure, reach out to us, write us an email,
Right.
catch us on the flip side of a reading. Yeah, it may be a little rough and raw in terms of the realness of it, but like like she said, we always are gonna give you that light. We're always gonna put out there, it's gonna get better. What'd she say?
I'm trying. That's why I say what. So, Miss Bettina, you said you felt I was linked to the galactic family, the Palladians. Do you recall the necklace I described, silver with the sector, crescent moon? Yeah, turn upside the points to the sky again. Uh, and navy background. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but I don't know what that means. Did you? research and see what that was. That sounds familiar though. It really does. A crescent moon, and let me ask April. Crescent moon, silver with a crescent moon turn upward, points up to the sky
It could be
with a navy background.
what I'm seeing is it's like a clock. So you know how the Mayan calendar works. It's a matter of
That
alignment and
came
timing.
up for her.
There's gonna be that space where that timing happens. So maybe within the crescent moon at a certain point, it's gonna feel like you're collecting all of your upgrades and your data, like straight from the universe. It's gonna So
Ah.
she'll feel it. She allows it. She's priming herself. She's been priming herself to receive the knowledge. So it's not so hard and fast when she gets it. You
Okay,
know,
well,
where
we got another thing too. What we got here? Okay. Well, my friend went live a few days ago and he was talking about the crescent moon and turned it up. Someone said it looked like a boat, then someone else said it looked like a bull. The Palladian's origin is in the Taurus constellation.
that makes
Oh,
sense. That makes sense.
that makes
So,
sense.
so
Oh,
it's a because Taurus is also a time, right?
oh, give it to me. Oh,
Korean is a time. So right now we're in the age of Aquarius, right?
right.
But within the age of Aquarius, there's still Taurus in certain parts of the sky. So
Okay.
you can look at as it towards if because I have a Taurus rising. Sorry, I have a Libra moon. I was going to say I have a Taurus moon. Anyway, so you want to look for, or at least know when you're
When
getting your
Taurus is
major
return.
downloads, you're going to get major downloads. You're probably going to see other lifetimes or parallel lifetimes and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that can happen in that space. So allowing yourself to be receptive, but also cleared, like take your sacred baths, adorn your body and honor your temple so that your crystalline structure is flexible enough to receive the new codes. Because what's happening is a lot of people are choosing to shut down and trying to not receive the codes, but look at all these solar flares, like it's happening.
Oh yeah,
It's happening.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Mimi. So now I'm gonna put you on blast on this channel. So that means you need to listen to your higher self. Now, if your higher self gave you all that stuff what we talked about earlier, you shouldn't be up there talking about doubting your higher self. And that's all I'm gonna say about putting you on blast on this channel. You
But
heard
it's
me.
okay if you do, just shake out of it faster. Like, oh
Mm.
yeah, I learned this already. Oh yeah, okay, now I'm gonna hit back in because that's the ego that likes to come in and say, "You're not good enough. Don't do this. Stay the same. Please, just stay the same."
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, yeah.
Mine does it too.
It's been doing a lot of talking. It's been doing a lot of talking to all of us. You got to kind of, Taylor Swift it, shake it off because it's been doing a lot of daggone talking. It's
A
like,
lot of people are in pain body right now. A lot of people are in survival mode, or like, I got to be this to be popular, or whatever, and they're thinking more than feeling, more than allowing, or they're just grasping on to what they think is like wealth or fame or
yeah.
connection, and then the false, because spirit has an ego too, like the spiritual ego.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, I did this already, I've done that work, I don't need to do it again. It's like, honey, it's cyclical, right? It's a spiral. It's almost like a tornado, and it gets closer and closer and closer, and so you feel like you're constantly being triggered, and then you go through the other side and you're like, yes. And then
Feel
you
that
see other
prana.
people tornadoing around you, and you're like, oh, it's okay, honey. It'll get better. I'm sorry. You're feeling super triggered. Just trust yourself.
That's right. Take that breath. Feel that prana. That good ass prana. Woo! Slow motion. And the other side. Not playing. All right, go ahead.
So the trauma is clearing, though. We're acknowledging the trauma, and it's our jobs individually to stand up for people who are being traumatized or are in a state of trauma.
Yeah.
But you have to realize where you can stop, right? So if you see someone, let's say, abusing their child, right? It's not to just traumatize them by ridiculing them in public, right? Is to say, hey, I saw what was going on and I wanted to stand up for your child because your child chose to come here through you. They didn't necessarily choose to be berated like that or something like that, you know? And so here are some tools that I've learned that help communicate. And it might take a few times to repeat for it to become like consistent, but realize it is consistent, or it will become consistent. You can change this for your family line. There's a lot of stuff where people are breaking ancestral curses and working into this new way of being, and it takes people to anchor them.
Yeah,
So,
we are in that. We are in that. I know that from experience also in connection about how it is that we're there to kind of break and not to cycle the same thing. So that is, I seen also validation of that as well. Doing things and saying, hey, this is what I did to go back to right or wrong or whatever to change things so that again future generations does not have that, and you open up a pathway to for others to come along. I'm also seeing in the family dynamics, if you don't pick up the charge to go ahead and do something, somebody else, another generation behind you, is going ahead and doing the very thing that you have not cleared. So it's like it's a second. It's almost like they're showing. It's almost like a war, or like a battle line. They're showing me like back then, old times. Remember they used to have like I'm like remember this back then, AD, go with me. I'm sounding like Sophia. We're back then, the times, the warring times. Remember they used to have like a line, like they lined up with those shields, and then you had the first line of defense, and if they did, they fall back, and then the second line of defense. So they're saying in some ways what they're showing me is that there is a way in which that if you don't do what you're supposed to do, there's another light worker in your generation that's showing me like a family tree, that person is going to pick up the charge. What you couldn't do, they're coming right. It's another generation behind you that's going to go ahead and pick it up and then go forth and actually do the very thing that you didn't decide to do. They're going to do it. And they show me it's like two lines of defense. And so it's going to get done through the family line. So don't worry about it. It's like if that person don't do it, next. Okay, that the person doesn't do it, next. If that person, it's like it's somebody's always behind that one to make sure that it's going to be done. This is what they're showing me through this picture that they're showing me through this line, like Roman times. All I'm seeing is big shields that's squared like, and they got these cone looking things, head armor with a cone like brush thing up at the top. I don't know who is that. Is that Roman times? What time is that? What these things?
um,
Am I going way back further? Is I'm seeing them like
isn't it the like knights and stuff like that?
yeah, it
Is that?
must be. They keep on showing me that. So whatever it is, that light is coming back up again. But I can see it. It's like it's got a golden helmet and it's got like a cone. It looks like almost like a mohawk.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So again, it's like the bloodlines. You don't do it, the next one is gonna pick up and make sure it gets done. It's gonna get clean. So regardless of how it does. What
If
if
both emotions are doing it good, you know what I mean? Like
that's
it just runs faster and it remains consistent. Because what happens is you are a karma karma. I'll talk about karma this way. You can get something that you have to heal from somebody else, right? But if so you can learn a negative self talk habit from your parent, whether they're conscious of it or not.
yeah,
So when you're an adult, if you're actively choosing to change that and you have children, you have already taught that to your child. So they're still going to end up having to do some out processing. But depending on how much you've put forth that knowledge for them to do that, your parent might already be doing it at the same time you're doing it too. Right.
right,
So there's a lot of fluctuation with the dynamic, and the more that do it, the better it is overall.
right. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm feeling. It's almost just like this next line, this next line, this next line. It's like a line of defense of all that, but it's just next, and it just keeps on going until, like you say, then it clears it out. If you got each generation clearing out what happened the last one it did. Before you know it, that didn't filtrate it out. It's just like if I keep on adding water and I put dye in this, I keep on putting water and water. After a while, it's going to come back to its clear state. You won't see any of that dye in there at all. So that's what it seems like it's going on. That they just channeled to me as well. So it's a lot of family
talking about the water and the moon, and we're talking about all this feminine, because this is a very feminine energies we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So taking the responsibility to change something, like it takes the feminine to say that something is incorrect, but it also takes the masculine energy to be disciplined enough to correct it.
Right. That's why he brings the action. That's what I was saying. To be able to go on ahead and say, okay, we do it. It's just like what the knights, the queen has the power, but it's the king that actually able to move on and do things to create change for their kingdom.
Well, it's like you can't see the moon without the sun.
Right.
Period. So they're both necessary energies for the dynamic and whatever shift. But the shifts seem heavier when it's the feminine shifting it. But the sun will just burn everything to a crisp. So there's got to be some balance.
I'll just play it. Yeah.
A good coat of fire.
There you go. It's finished. Damn it.
Problem solved.
Wow. Unbelievable. Speaking of feminine, hold on a second. Here we go. Ooh. All right. Speaking of feminine, we are in the red moon wave spell, aka the divine feminine archetype of the Mayan signature into the 24th. Oh, wow. Yeah, the one I've been singing, like, it's all about the feminine, baby. It's all about the feminine. Thank you, interior sources. It's 7777 to make me keep on. I was like, what is this? She's like, yeah, we move in. I can feel that we are the feminine is leading the charge right now for what's kind of going on. And like you said about the moon. So of course that is a confirmation that the moon is even helping with the energy.
I feel inspired for sure.
Yeah.
The feminine is active. I do not feel like I feel like, just passive. Right? So for me to become active, like the planet's I'm sorry, it's true. It's true. It's like, oh, finally the time is right. I can get out of my yoni cocoon and start sharing my feminine love, because it's not received in the way that you would want it to be normally if it's too masculine. Femininity can be received as weakness if the masculine is in war mode. Right? So it takes for Mars and Venus to meet up in the heart space of Leo for us to say, let's have a conversation. Okay? Let's actually do this. This is a relationship. It's not just a you ship. Okay?
But there's you in universe. No, I was playing.
There's also a yoni in universe. You just left off the yon. You know what I mean? You only exist because I birthed you.
But that is true. You trumped me. As a divine masculine energy advocate, I cannot trump that.
But you know what? Turn your lights down low. I want to give you some good loving. Oh, welcome back to Freaky Friday here at the program.
We're going to bring it in. People don't trust and believe. We're going to bring it in. I'm out here winging it. What's he say? I'm out here winging it. I'm sure everyone is thinking I'm acting out of character.
Actually, as you step into your feminine power, it really does feel like winging it sometimes. Because the feminine is so dynamic and adaptable, and like that's the nurturing of the woman is what is. Let's work with it, right? Whereas the masculine's like, I'm gonna go get it because we need it, right? And then I'll bring it here, and then we have it. And so it feels like winging it sometimes as a woman.
Yeah. That is true. It's like you don't have anything to eat, and the woman say, "Okay, let me see what you got in the refrigerator. Oh, I can make a meal with that." Like, nah, don't you want to Grubhub or Uber Eats? Yeah, like, no. I got what I need here. I can fix a meal with what you got here. So yeah. That is true. That is true. That is where we are as far as that was. So yeah, these energies, all I can say is, again, as we kind of wrap up and close up, some things is just to say, like I say, just really understand everything. You can't put stake on it. Be very fluid. Uh, at this point, just be flexible. Be true. Be to thine own self. Be true. Let that be your guide. Be your own guru about what's going on. And like that, just don't give yourself permission. I keep on saying that, but just again, when things happen, again, don't be so hard on yourself and don't be so mental. I think it's really because of this moon, again, like you said, not being stable. We rely on the mental to kind of get us through. I need you to really analyze and give me some clarity and really solidify what is going on here. And this might be one of the times that all my cliches, as I say, to be okay with the gray. It might not be black and white. You might have to just be all right with the in between.
Oh, I was just having that visualization earlier. Was like that grayness, right? Because there's so many shades of gray, and so many shades. There's even shades of white, right? There's even shades of black, and so just being comfortable in that flow. We can do it together.
We can
Take a
do
nap, all
it.
of you. I know you
Yeah.
need it.
I took a nap. No, you're right. That right before the show. I was like, I got power nap. I'm like, power. Okay,
Take
power.
a nap. Make sure to nourish yourself. There's going to be a lot of things that kind of trigger you to childhood mode, fight or flight. You're going to want to comfort food. But the comfort food, as long as it's nutritious and actually supplies your body with what it needs to integrate, right? If it's a toxin that's slowing your body down, it's not really helpful. And so you'll feel better overall if you do the nutritious choice.
And you will. That's true. That's true. Because a couple times I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do me. And then I was like, okay, no. Body's like, I didn't like that. Don't send that down no more. Go back on the other side because right now, you not like eat light, or whatever it is they say. Don't go for the heavy. But I know for me, it showed me. It was like, don't do that no more. Please don't. I'm telling you. I like you killing me within. You're killing me. I can't walk my side, Jesus. So no, So don't do that. You did
I
say
don't think Clary, Mimi's post something out there. I don't think Clary's going to come till the end of this year, to be 100% honest. I don't think anything's going to be solid until not because Saturn and Pluto go back, but I think it's Neptune, right?
yeah,
Neptune into
you got one of them that it is. Like I said, yeah, I told you not to wait till the 15th to do anything. But now we got these other kind of retrogrades. You know what? And it helped me to kind of almost like gear shift. It's like, okay, maybe it made me come to have more clarity about like that I don't have clarity and it's okay not to have clarity. I still went there. I got more answers as to what my next level is, but I say on around the 15th for me, but it's still sad. It's still a process and there's still some things that I got to go through. But it's like I came to understanding and say, okay, I see what I got to do. But again, now I got to start executing and doing it. But it's not a solidified thing because again, we can't do anything solid. But it should come together, the pieces of the puzzle as to what direction you should be going at that time. When I say about the 15,
yeah.
what,
So you will know you're going to feel right now an anchoring in certain aspects of your life, right?
right?
But it's
Thank you.
not solidly anchored in; it's directionally anchored.
There you go.
It's
Speak for
like
me.
we're going in this direction and now we're setting up to go in that direction, but you might not see the full headway of growth until like the December, November time. Where
Yeah,
you're like, and it
there,
just goes boom. And it's interesting because it's the heart of winter, right? But it's so hard that's going to crack right open.
Right.
And it'll feel like the shift. You'll be in spring early because you've been setting it up. You've been setting.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
good.
you know what? Don't overthink this, because I think what you're putting out there. She says she's looking at cars and stuff like that. Don't overthink this. Trust yourself. If you need a new vehicle, things might be setting you up to get you the right vehicle right now,
Right.
right?
Right.
But if you feel that you need to pause for some reason, then pause. If you feel like you want to set something up properly and do something else, like for starting a business or getting in a new line of career or education or something like that, the education takes a while. It doesn't just happen and now you have knowledge and now
Oh, head to the
yeah.
north.
Yes.
Head to the north.
Just got hit with the MD stick.
No, 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 no. You and I both know that got 7 degrees were from and between the both of us. No, it don't roll like that.
And I really do wish there's a stick someone could like just lightly tap me with. Actually, sticks are big though, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you said that because the overthinker is like all these options, and you said, yeah, no, everything. Yeah, what did we say again? See, that tell you,
Trust yourself.
and you're not listening. What I tell you, everything is not set in stone right now. You got to be flexible.
Even the stones, right? Even the stones are like, what am I doing here? Just being a rock. I'm a rollover.
Right. Well, I paused during the past 2 months. What? Wait, hold on. I paused during the past 2 months because I felt the frustration and anxiety of searching for a car. But the energy feels different now when I think of it. That's good. Now, that's how you know. If you don't have all that, like, oh, my side, and I got a headache, and I've got to lay down, most of the time my body will let me know. Okay, I'm overwhelmed. You are doing too much. I can't think of this. Don't even mention the car. My side is cut up. I get a headache. That means I'm overwhelmed. My body will tell me, you're doing too much. You're overwhelmed. You got to back off. Take a pause. Take a vacation. Pause off it. And it's not time for you to do it now. So that's it. I took the leap of faith. What now? Here, Charm said she did different. I took the leap. Everything is up in the air. Okay. All right. You leaving
Now,
it up to source.
now, with everything being up in the air, continue to cultivate what it is that you want to bring in. Call in the right energy, right? Because sometimes the ego, when it gets a little bit uncomfortable in that space of being up in the air, it will call in things to reinforce, oh, you shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have believed in myself, or whatever. No, cultivate your strengths, cultivate what energy you want to feel, even though you may not know the steps in between to how to get there. What do you want? You want a new house? You want a new car? You want a new you want your significant other? Like, just take the time to actually call that energy in and keep reaffirming, because right now it's going to feel really floaty. Yeah.
Right. And I think, and that's funny. When I read what she said, that I seen that, and then after I didn't know it was a bad thing because she went to I said the emojis over there on the side. But I thought she just said I took a leap in the air and everything's up in the air, and I thought she was allowing it in like spirit or source to take over. And it's also that's another thing I forgot. I meant to do that on podcast too. It's all about perspective too. It's the perspective of how we seeing things. Again, we've got to turn over, and I've even had to call on myself as an overthinker too, as well. It's like, wait a second, you keep on concentrating on the negative. Now, just like I said in her statement, I thought she said, I took the lead. I'm just pausing and waiting for the universe to catch up with it. Till I seen over there, she had the emojis. That was a bad thing. That's why I say it's kind of like it's perspective, how you see it, and like you said, the intentionality. What's your intentions behind that? That could be a good look at it from a good standpoint of pausing, allowing the universe to catch up to where you are with your intentionalities and to serve you with the very thing that you want.
Well, I like to look at everything from every perspective. And that's why I sit there in contemplative mode until the divine feminine's like, get up and do something, please. And then the masculine is like, all right, woman, I'll take out the garbage. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, so even though, because I'll do that too. Like, I'm totally on a whim. I'm totally happy about it. But then sometimes something will kind of creep in and it's ego usually that
True.
says, oh, you can't do this or that or whatever. You're trying to fill in the space or trying to create, you're trying to make sense of it. So because the ego wants to make sense of things, it'll shift you back into an old state of paradigm, as
Uh,
opposed to that open possibilities when you're like just hand in hand with the universe. And
yeah.
so when you get into that space, just shift and say, I trust, and I know you're going to show me. And you can ask for confirmations. You can do all kinds of stuff with the universe. It's actually very dynamic. I married the universe. I married Mr. Universe. We are in it to win it. He's
Right,
got
right.
my back, and he keeps reinforcing that when I need it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they most definitely know that also that they are really answering you back. If you ask for confirmation, divine truth, they will answer you back. Like really, like right back. They don't put you on. And after the tone, leave your name and your number, and we will get back to you. No, they have been really. It seems like been answering very quickly. Like, okay, give it to me, so I can see what's going on as far as confirmations. It has been for me. I just put it out there for me that I seen this a little faster, and I think I seen and read somewhere where they're saying that the divine communications are opening up, and it's moving more smoothly and more rapidly, as quickly it's opening up for you to be able to have that communication with the divine, so you can be able to get your answer. So we got like an ace in the hole, as they call it, that we can be able to lean on to say, okay, I just want to really make sure and verify, is this the right one? If this the car I want. And I used to do that a lot of times. Like, if this the car I want, if it is, let me see. When I get on the road with the car that I got, a whole bunch of them. I've seen a whole bunch of Lexus 350s out there. I said, okay, yeah, that's the one I'm gonna stick with. So that's the one I'm gonna purchase. So it'll give you. See, I got a chime there. So it will tell you, as far as the universe will answer you back. Trying to stay in the flow. Yeah. Well, do stay in the flow. Not try. Stay in the flow. Trying is a what is it? A
So when you
suggestion.
feel out of sorts, then
Right.
you can start tapping, breathing, allowing for expansiveness. Because what happens is when you're trying, you start to break down, you start to like, you harden parts of you, which places you out of flow more, as opposed to just learning and breathing and being okay. So I know you came in a little bit later and you said you wanted to
Y'all
rewatch.
just
Yes,
I
you
was
do,
yeah.
because we talk about getting in that space of in between, getting it, allowing things to be unsettled, because this is a time where nothing can fully settle.
Right.
Oh, Kia Soul. Okay, I was like, who's Kia? What's going on with her soul? She got a big soul back in her body.
Lead it to you to get it wrong. Oh, Lord. So I was like, I don't recall seeing the mini kid. Yeah, when you want that car, I seen that. That happened to me very constantly. Like, you start really honing in on the car that you really like. Like, I've been now liking some of these Hyundais, and I was like, oh, I really like. I like that Hyundai Tucson they got out now. I kind of feeling that. And then every time when I'm going on the road, I'm seeing like it's turning in front of me, it's on the side of me, it's in the back of me, it's in the front of me. I'm like, okay. So, it's again working on you to, if that's what you desire and that's what you want. Every car that is always have done that with me. Any car
Just
that I wanted, they always appear. I've drawn that to me. It's like, Dad, I ain't never seen so many of them on the road before. I didn't even know this. So yeah. What you say,
like
April?
today I wrote a post about wealth, right? Everything costs something, right? And so you want to put your money or your energy or your time or your focus into that which is going to let you grow. So if you're feeling unsettled, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to grow with this feeling, and I know wonderful things are going to come to me. But I'll spend some time cultivating, learning about expansiveness, learning about my energy, learning about attraction or meditation, or even going into your arts. I like to say to flow with joy a little bit more, flow with happiness, um, and that your inner child is like really key for this work for manifestation, because children are super duper magical, right? They come in straight from source, and it isn't until they're hardened by the world or influenced that they some of that wonder starts to kind of shave off, right?
True.
So getting yourself back into your teenage energy, right? Getting yourself back into that, what makes you passionate, what drives you, and that's what's going to start pulling in exactly what you really want to desire, as long as you've got that as a focus. If you don't have anything out there as a focus, it can be really kind of difficult integrating. As a female avatar in a female body, as a male avatar, I think it's a little different. I actually think it's a whole lot different. They're okay as long as they have a routine or something that they can systematically do. They feel like they've got footing, right? So when they lose that footing, they can feel really, really lost, unless they have a high feminine energy, unless they can create, right? Because feminine energy is more about that creating and birthing, right? So you want to think about what you want to create in birth. I mean, the same thing with the Kia Souls happened when I had a baby, right? I was just calling in that baby energy, and I was feeling that vibe, and like saw this little twinkle. Like I kept singing out of the corner of my eye, like, what's going on over there? Like, is that like a soul following me around? And then sure enough, I sure did end up pregnant with a baby. And the thing is, it's calling in and cultivating what it is you want. So now it's calling in that family that I want, calling in that energy. Yeah, I do want to have more children. Yeah, I want to even adopt some kids. Yeah, but I also want that partner that's going to hold the space with me. So
Adopt me.
of course, you and your little dogs too.
Well, I don't know about this. No.
I'll get you and your little dogs too. I did play the Wizard of Oz in the fifth grade. The Wicked Witch of the West.
And I played Dorothy. So yes. And
Classic.
we got the wicked all over again over here. All right, here we go. During this time, what she got here? During this, we go down. During this time, I see myself things that my DM had to do, and a lot of times I was there during the times, and now I feel like I don't have the same support.
Okay, so the feeling that you're having is not related to the reality that exists. You are basically getting a one-on-one support session with her and I.
Sorry, I need to get my phone charged.
Yeah, open. It's okay. So my mom is watching my son, and she's like, I need my phone charger. But you're getting a one-on-one. That's interesting that you would say you're not getting supported, and I get distracted right when I'm telling you how supported you are. But you are getting support. Now it's a matter of you choosing to see it, right? Because if you're looking for the Kia Soul, you want the Kia Soul, you see the Kia Soul. If you are thinking I don't have the support, I don't, then you like see that you don't get the support, right? But where are you being supported? Where are you being uplifted and carried in this time? Right? There's so many tools and so many things that are giving. I mean, I bet you that even the flowers, if you go outside, I bet you they're looking at you. I bet you they're smiling at you. Even if the sun is over here, I bet they're looking at you over there. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of peeling back the layers of the ego. And that's where we talked about in our episode today, that the layers of the ego can be very subtly confusing and make you think that your ego can make you think it's you. Now, ego is necessary for support and defining boundaries and so on and so forth. But when you are going into a stage of something new, it's very mystifying and scary sometimes. And fear and excitement are in the same part of the brain. So when you have fear coming out of you, it could actually be excitement for the newness and allowing for space for wealth you've never experienced before, riches you've never seen, a family as supportive, and then like the DM as supportive. You might not have seen or experienced that or even had that modeled, but where is it in front of you? Even seeing that loving old couple walk down the street or in the park or whatever, that's giving you the insight that exists, right? But some people will turn a blind eye to it and say, "Oh, I'm just alone. No, love doesn't exist." But you can see love all around if you choose to. I'm not supported, but you can actually see that support where maybe you got an extension on your unemployment. I don't know, or you got the video comes in at the right time, or the music comes in right when you need it, and it's got these lyrics that are just speaking to your heart for some reason. These are all levels of support that are not just the physical, I'm carrying you, like the way you carried someone else, right? So flipping perspective, that's what we also talked about that
That's what we
earlier.
talked about that, right? That's what it
So
leads
I
to.
definitely say rewatch this because I'm so cute. And Divine Sunshine's hair looks amazing.
Thank you. I feel like Diana Ross. Reach out and touch. No, it's funny. Somebody said, make this world a better place if you can. No, but we said that it's all going down, right down to perspective. That's what I was just about to say too, as well. Is you got to flick that on. I felt myself going into that, and I had to actually turn that on myself and say, whoa, 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 wait a second. You need to look at this stuff differently as far as you feeling that. So, like you saying, not supportive, you got to start looking for it. Starting off the day with the intentionality. I'm looking for support. Universe, help and send me support or show me support in my world that maybe I'm not seeing. That's where intentionality comes from. And being in things that help you to be supported is also a way, things of that nature. So that's why I kind of said at the beginning, whatever things I said it before, whatever things you were in that was helping you to kind of anchor yourself into, to kind of continue to do those things as well, because that's going to where you're going to feel the support as well. So that's just one thing before me kind of put it out there on blast. But anyway, that's the thing is you have to do. Watch the 222 movie.
Yeah,
What
she
is
said it was all about like soulmates or something like that, or like the connection experience. And I think
what is
getting
that
yourself into that.
on Netflix? What's that?
She said it came out in 2017.
Okay,
I'm not 100%, but you know, you are made. This is the golden age. You were made for this golden life. You wouldn't be here if you weren't supposed to be here and if you really weren't supported. And
right,
we're here to show you that you are. And we're
right.
thankful that you're here supporting us and supporting the channel and supporting yourself and
Oh,
trusting the universe. YouTube for
it's
free.
on YouTube.
Everybody loves
Okay,
free romance.
it's
I'm
YouTube and it's
all about-
free. Okay. We'll put it in there.
I'm
Yeah. So
actually designing.
how you gonna section while I was snapping off me? Since I
I'm
see lost
actually developing a Yoni Steam blend for self love and romance, and it's really interesting about how you can do it with simple acts of self care,
right.
slowing down and just saying, "I support you. I am supported." Like go stand in a mirror or look at yourself and say, "I'm supported." And you're gonna have stuff come out with self doubt, and I already feel the tears. I feel it because it has something to do with your childhood and abandonment and stuff like that. Which she has some really great resources on her channel. She's got a whole inner child workshop stuff going on, but the abandonment issues that are coming up, um, and then having put yourself out there. We even talked about that on this show about not
Right.
being able to. Um, we put as the feminine, we put ourselves out there in a way that we want to receive, as opposed to just saying no, I'm only going to give to myself that way until somebody says they need that support from me, and unless they're like a child or a pet or a plant, something we know we need to take care of and they need assistance. But we keep giving so much energy. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. And we're not going to do that anymore. We're not. We're not going to spend our energy, right? Because it's a cost. It's a cost equivalent. We're not going to spend our energy where it's not reciprocated or received properly.
Right.
And we're going to learn how to receive. We're going to allow ourselves to receive. Like maybe I can't take a compliment from the man I love, but maybe I could take a compliment from some random grocery store clerk or a person on the street.
Right, that's right. Ebony did say start with
Achoo!
I don't know why she got a fascination. Every day in the morning, she wants to come down and will see herself in the mirror and mark herself. It's like, you're not the body I had last. You don't look familiar. What is this black dog? I thought I was a white dog. So that is so funny. All right, then. So let's wrap it up. We had said that. Whoa, this was a really good one. But we went 1-20-20. Aha. The vision. Use your intuition, your awareness to see the vision. 2020 vision. Make it plain. Write the vision, make it plain. Okay. So you can know where you're going. All right. And as far as who's the man in there. All right, then let's go on here. Let's get on here. What is it? You got anything going on? Let's do the community tab. Let's wrap it up. Anything doing?
I'm still working on my app. I'm offering the beta course again, and I will be putting together some nice new blends that I'll be putting on my website for yoni steaming. That's a really great way to do self-care. It's a really nice way to show yourself love, and it allows your womb to speak, because especially if you're an African American woman, okay, we are holding so much pain and so much anger and so much abandonment. It's like, it's insane. So a lot of us have PCOS, which I was able to get rid of. A lot of us have endometriosis. A lot of us are having, well, I don't know if we're having a high rate of infertility issues, but there are some stuff coming up, especially with environmental toxins and stuff like that. But clearing our womb space is going to be a huge one. And I really love this soft way of taking care of our bodies, the soft way of connecting with our wombs. You can regulate your period, you can regulate fertility, you can do all kinds of really wonderful stuff. You can heal your ancestral DNA on such a deep and simple level in a soft way, and it'll help you clear and connect. So, yes, you got this. Yeah, that's pretty much it right now. I'll be doing a template, like a pilot course pretty soon. I'll be putting that on my Facebook and my Instagram, so check it out. And you'll be able to purchase it through the website.
Wonderful. What is this? Oh, just trying to say we're learning. Okay. Let's see. For me, there's still the GPS channel message for $7. Make sure that you go over to Divine Unisource and Co to get that. Also to support going over to my podcast, Divinely Speaking, Unplugged. Always pumping out each week new messages on there. Also, we had the great event that's coming on, the 8/8 event. The 8/8 event that we're going to have, it's called Rebirthing You. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Time. Make sure it's going to be on the Divine Unisouls 11 channel. It's a free virtual event. It's going to have yours truly on there. April Williams is going to do an opening of whatever's channel thing that Spirit tell her to do for the opening as well. Then we're going to have panel discussion about family with Stephanie Gibbs and Benita. And I'm gonna throw out, and I'm gonna ask April, but I think I'm gonna volunteer her. Like that, she's gonna be voluntold.
I was totally like, if you want me on the panel, you're gonna put me on the panel.
She's gonna be on the panel too, because Spirit told me last minute, said, no, she need to be on there because about the family. So she will be on there as well. So also next, and also we're gonna have Kathy D is going to do a wonderful journal writing project. Also, Angel S. Simmons is going to come back again and finish up about the narcissism, this time about rebirthing and now knowing how to love yourself after narcissism. And then also I got a lovely young lady by the name of Audrey Simper. She's going to come in case some of you all want to start some um, social media things, companies that have to do with that. She's very great on that. She does TikTok, IG. She helped me as far as also coaching to get your business on board, to get it more together. She's going to be here so help you to rebirth. Some of you might already have businesses or you thought about it, you put it to the side. So she's going to help you to rebirth that too. And then we got lovely Jamie. She's going to come back and end and close out the session with yoga as well, because you know how we have to do that all together. And lovely Asmat had did a video talking about how you can clear your chakras through yoga, and that's another reason why I do also have yoga in part of our events as well, as far as also implementing and integrating the information that you have through your body. So that's definitely one thing to do that. Check me out on my IG page because I'm really doing things on that as far as also the TikTok as well. So I've been doing some more kind of off of this and going this away to the TikTok thing as well and growing that up. I'm going where it's growing as well. So that is one thing. So just make sure that you do that. All right. Always make sure that you click, share, and like, comment. Also, that helps with the algorithms as well, because especially after me talking to K Moon of how this system is going, give a thumbs up, like, make sure that and you are sharing the information and letting people know about the great things that we're doing. Don't just keep the good stuff to yourself. Share us. We don't mind to be being passed around. Wait a second. Let me kind of watch that. That sounds kind of weird. But anyway, so just make sure that to do that. All right, as always, look at the divine masculine there. This Tina, this taking over. All right, close us out. Get us on out of here.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
All right, then, as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste, namago. Mwah. Love you. Until next time, we'll see you on the playground.